I got, not yet. I got like 30 seconds. We're close.
Oh, he got here.
That's all.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call
Jenny David.
here.
Doug Scott.
Here.
Sarah Brock.
Here.
Brad Newbecker.
Here.
Ron Vaughn.
Item 2, approval of the agenda. Are there any additions or corrections?
I know of none. I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented. Or.
We have a motion from Commissioner Scott with support from Commissioner Vaughn to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 3A, August 25th, 2022, regular meeting minutes.
I have reviewed the minutes and I'll make a motion to accept them as presented. Or.
We have a motion from Commissioner Scott with support from Commissioner Serbrook to approve the August 25th, 2022 regular meeting minutes. Is there any conversation on those? All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 3B, September 1st, 2022, Committee of the Whole meeting minutes.
I have reviewed the committee whole meeting minutes and I will make a motion to accept them as presented. Second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Scott with support from Commissioner Vaughn to approve the September 1st, 2022 Committee of the Whole meeting minutes. Is there any discussion on that? All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 3C, September 1st, 2022 closed session meeting minutes.
I thoroughly read the closed session minutes and I'll make a motion to accept them as presented. Support.
We have a motion from Commissioner Scott with support from Commissioner Serbrook. Those are in front of us right there, Commissioner Becker.
Yep.
Is there any discussion on those? All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 4, public comment on agenda items only. State your name for the record, speak only to the chairperson when speaking, stand behind the podium when speaking, limit comments to 3 minutes or fewer, follow the direction of the chairperson when speaking. Is there any public comment in the room on agenda items only? Any public comment on the phone? Item 5, we have correspondence that were received and filed from the Department of Air Force related to the notice of draft environmental impact statement availability. Item 6, public hearing, the CDBG funding for CDBG PI emergency repairs grant. Leanne, come on up. Come on up.
Need a motion to open public hearing.
I was gonna let her speak first and then we were gonna open the meeting. Go ahead, you had the floor.
Oh, okay. Hi. Does everybody have a copy of the PowerPoint presentation in your computers? Right, okay. All right. The overview basically talks about what the purpose of the program is for generating program income, which we have been doing for quite a few years. The program has been in existence since 1983. So you can imagine how much money is flowing through the county program. And these type of loans that they get from us are expected to be paid back to the program. That's how we generate program income. And then we just turn around and we recycle that money. Things have changed over the last few years. And so now we have to start reporting our program income to the Michigan Economic Development Authority. The second slide on the overview gives you a little more definition on what program income is. It's basically principal or interest on the loan payment that the clients make to our program. And then there are some that are not required to make monthly payments. And so if they have a stock house or they get refinanced, we get paid off in full. And so that it accumulates more program income over the year that we have to follow according to NGC. This last report, which I submitted in June 30th, which was the ending of the fiscal year for NGC, came out to be $85,000 $840.79. So that was a pretty good chunk of money at the time, because we had a lot of payoff. Interest rate was good for a lot of clients. And then we had quite a few clients that sold their home. So those loans kind of go away and once we get paid off. And so we just continue to recycle that money. I didn't have a chance to put this information in because I wanted to let you know what we have outstanding in loans. So deferred loans, we have 107 loans out there. These are deferred loans. That means that clients do not have to pay that back as far as the home. If they ever decide to sell or refinance, we get our money back. We do have some of the deferred loans that are making monthly payments because they want that debt to go away. And I understand that very well. The total amount in deferred loan is $1,421,000. And we're tracking that every month. So we always have a running team. And then we have local loans. Local loans are the ones that the clients are expected to pay payment back because they sign a promissory note to pay payment back to the program anywhere from 0% to 1% to 3%. We have 46 of them. And so we have a total of 153 loans out there that are either paying or not paying. It depends on what kind of loan they have. So the local loan, we have $462,450. So we have a grand total of $1,884,09. So that's pretty good. It really is. The next slide talks about the proposed activity of CDBG's program income fund. Our program is set up so we go up to 80% area median income. And that is based on the number of people in the household and whatever their income is. I have an income guideline that I follow, which gets updated every year according to House regulation. So we update the income guideline every year. Don't mind me if I get a little too far ahead of myself here. These funds are used countywide just for Ogemaw. It does not even go anywhere else. It just stays in the county program. The next slide is talked about eligible projects, what the money is used for. It's used for a roof, wells, septic, furnace, electrical, and any type of specific type of emergency that might come up. And we have to get approval for any of the other ones through the MEDC to use those money. The other funding sources don't apply to that. This is just for emergency repair, and that's all we're supposed to use that money for. That is designated for MEDC to tell us, when we can use it. The program guideline, which is the next slide, it requires that the property has to be owner occupied. They have to own it at least 1 year. The house can't be less than 5 years old. So if it's a really new house, then they wouldn't be eligible for this program because that's not the whole person behind it. Their taxes and insurance have to be current to be eligible, and they have to provide us with income. So we can figure out what kind of program that they are eligible for, what type of loan that they are also be able to apply for, whether it's a deferred loan or a local loan. The next slide talks about citizen participation. We do have a policy in place. It has been in place since 2017, sorry. So we follow that. So we make sure that anybody that wants to participate or understand what the program is, they're welcome to come to public hearings, for example, or they can come to my office. And the last one is fair housing. Fair housing is available in my office. So if there's anybody who feels they're discriminated against because they can't own a home or whatnot, they are to come to my office and file their complaint. So we do have a fair housing policy in place. And we do have a fair housing law. We have handouts that we give out to clients. That's pretty much it as far as what the public hearing is all about. Question,
I just wanted to recognize you and I think you do an amazing job.
thank you. Appreciate it.
So do we need a motion to go to public hearing?
You can declare it open.
So the public hearing is open for the CDB funding for CDB BGPI Emergency Repairs Grant. That's a wordful, mouthful. Is there any, we have to ask for comments? Now we need a motion to close it. Okay,
No, you can declare it closed as well.
oh my goodness.
Yeah. The power of the chair.
So we will close the public hearing. Any
Gavel it.
any commissioners?
You can even gavel it if you want.
Commissioners, is there any comments? So we're gonna close the public hearing. Thank you, Leanne.
You're welcome. I did pass around the sign-in sheet for the public hearing.
Yep.
I don't know how
Oh, right here.
Mom, come on.
Item 7, we have action on consent calendar. You guys have anything? I think there's some of these that we can definitely combine. Is there any of them besides A and B you guys would like to pull out in claims?
If you're gonna read them all, I just assume we'll just vote on each one.
My question was, is there any that any commissioners would like
Well, I
to,
got a question. Oh,
is there any that the commissioners would like to pull out? To further discuss?
What about the quote on the tires? I thought we were going to get another quote before we went forward with that.
Did you get all the necessary information you asked from Ray?
I did, and actually Ray's vendor is my deal vendor.
Oh,
So
okay.
under our policy, we don't necessarily need to get any other quotes.
Okay, so you guys are, we have 7C resolution to accept transit tire purchase quote, 7D resolution to approve zoning map amendment number 02-22. Item E, resolution to establish a fee for telecommunication tower site plan review. F, resolution to authorize purchase of body worn cameras for law enforcement personnel. G, resolution to authorize sales for surplus property. Any discussion on those? I guess we need a motion.
I'd make a motion, resolution to be adopted as read.
Or
Nope, C through G. We have a motion from Commissioner Serbrook with support from Commissioner Newbecker. Is there any discussion on those? Roll call vote.
Ron Vaughn,
Yes.
Brad Newbecker,
yes,
Jenny David,
Yes.
Craig Scott,
yes,
Mark Serbrook.
Yes.
Item 8A, Francis Omani, sorry about that. Northeast Michigan Community Service Agency Communication and Development Director, related to the NEMSCA's annual report. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you again. I have a different last name from a couple years ago.
It tricked me.
How you doing?
that was,
Thank you.
Okay, good evening. Thanks for the introduction. My name is Frances Omani, as was stated by Commissioner David, and I am the Communication and Development Director for Northeast Michigan Community Service Agency. I've had the pleasure of presenting to this board for quite a few years now, so I'll keep it as brief as possible. I won't do any pop quizzes about our agency, but I do want to do just a quick 30-second maybe reminder about what we're all about. So we are a community action agency. Actually, let me rephrase that. We are your community action agency for Ogemaw County, and we provide a variety of programs here in this county, in addition to another 10 core counties in Northeast Michigan. We were first created after the Economic Opportunity Act of 1964 was passed. So our actual anniversary is August of 1968 that we were born. So we've been around for quite a long time. And essentially we provide programs to empower people to live enhanced lives, along with many of our community partners in the area. So if you open up the annual report, you'll see on the left, of course, is the map of all of our core county areas, including Roscommon County with that darker shade of blue, because even though Roscommon is not our core, we still provide a lot of programs and kind of share it with our sister agency, that's Northwest Community Action Agency. On the list below is a breakout of our services that we provide in the area, and some of those actually represent multiple, because we do provide over 30 programs here in Ogemaw County. To the right is a message from our CEO, Lisa Bowen, who talks about all of the efforts that we did in the last fiscal year and the continued efforts we're going to do going into 2023, actually. To the right is our list of our board of directors and what we're all about. So we are unique as a community action agency, meaning that we are run by what's called a tripartite board. What that means is that a third of our board is elected officials, which traditionally and historically in our history has always been county commissioners. So thank you, Commissioner Scott, for being on our board. 1/3 of our board is what we call our consumer sectors. And this is what makes us a little unique compared to some other boards. Consumer sectors mean that they either are or represent the low-income voice, which is very powerful to have equal representation between elected officials and our low-income voice as well. And then the final third is our private citizens. So these might be business owners or retired senior citizens or anybody else that really wants to help govern our agency. To the right, you'll see what is our mission, which is enhancing quality of life by empowering individuals and strengthening communities. That's what community action agencies are all about. Opening up to the middle of the annual report, on the left-hand side is a snapshot of our services provided. So this is where we extract and pull all of that data from all of our 22 counties that we actually touch into with our Head Start preschool program. And we have them provide how many people and how many times did we touch people with all of our programs in our coverage area. So this is the part that actually kind of blows me away every time we pull these numbers. So for example, almost 500,000 hours were donated back to our programs, or that we had just under 26,000 food boxes that were delivered through our quarterly food program. Or 2,339 seniors actually maintained independent living, meaning they did not go into nursing homes before they were ready, because we have nurses and case managers on staff that go in and provide that home health care. And we actually have an office here in West Branch with our nurses and our social workers that work out of, along with we have Head Start and Early Head Start office locations here in West Branch as well. Now, the exciting thing, and this is new, I've never done this before, so I hope you appreciate it because I think it's pretty cool. For the first time, I've got some breakout numbers of specific numbers to Ogemaw County with some of our programs. So the first sheet you have in front of you in the annual report is our numbers for our NEMSCO School Success Partnership Program. So you'll see a breakdown through fiscal year 2021 of how many students that we served formally, meaning they were actually enrolled into that program. And then how many were served informally. So what does that mean when I say formally versus informally? Formally means that they actually went through the intake process. And also remember, School Success is one of our programs that is not income-based. This is all referral-based. So this could be open to any student from kindergarten through high school, and in fact, even in alternative ed or adult ed student. So that's the formal students that we serve. Informally means that even though they're not quote unquote on our books, they still interacted with our school success liaison and asked for help. Maybe they had a bad day and said, you know what, I need to chill in here for a little bit. Or can you provide me support in this? And it was just more of a organic conversation, and they weren't actually formally put into our programs. So I'll let you look at the rest of those numbers for that program as well. The next page is our homeless prevention program. So you're probably aware that we actually provide assistance to people that are homeless or at risk of being homeless, in addition to other variety of housing programs as well. So you'll see that we expended a little bit under $250,000 here in this county for this particular program in a variety of ways, whether it was with rapid rehousing, financial empowerment classes, motel placements, or eviction prevention, and so on and so forth. The next page is one of our volunteer programs, which is our retired senior volunteer program. This also is a program that's not income-based. This is just open to anybody that's 50 or better that would like to volunteer and give back to their community. So this is the tracking of the hours of how many hours were donated through that program. The next page are our other two volunteer programs that we have in Ogemaw County, which is our senior companion program and our foster grandparent program. So that's a breakdown of that. The next page is our food boxes, our food distribution. Now this one is our monthly. So this is aimed to low income senior citizens in Ogemaw County. So for the year of 2021, we distributed just over 130,000 pounds of food which equals about $238,000 worth of food if we average $55 a box of food for Ogemaw County. And then finally, our weatherization program. I was really surprised when I saw this because I know Ogemaw County is one of our smaller counties along with some of the other adjoining counties. And we actually completed 8 houses in Ogemaw County with weatherization. So as a reminder, what weatherization is that means that we had inspectors that went into their home and did a very thorough test to make sure to see where there was some energy losses. So they tested to see if there were drafts through the windows. They tested to see how thick the insulation was in the attic or in the crawl space. They checked to see if the hot water heater was energy efficient, even the refrigerator, a variety of things. And then we contract with we connect with contractors that go out and do the recommended upgrades. And then we do a post inspection to make sure the job was done. And then after that process is done, then their home is obviously more energy efficient, which in turn means that their utility bills are lowered, which in turn means that that's less of a stress with money going out. So it was pretty cool to see that we got 80 houses completed in one fiscal year here in Ogemaw County. And we have one house that's still in the progress of being completed. So very exciting stuff. On the right is the financial overview. So you'll see the pie graph shows how we're funded. So we are federally funded, state funded, and of course, a small portion is local and in kind or what was donated back to us in hours that we count for volunteering and things like that. And then the bar graph that I chose to use in the bottom shows how that is expended out. So essentially how much money is going into each program or division that we spend out. So the first one is early childhood services, and it's very obvious when you look at the bar graph to see that that for sure is our largest division in all of our agency. So early childhood services consists of 3 programs: Early Head Start, and GSRP, which is the Great Start Readiness Program. Those combined, like I said, you can see it's very clear that that's a very large part of our division. And a lot of times when I'm doing these presentations and educating community members about NEMSCA, when I ask what program do you think about when you think of NEMSCA, most of the time people say Head Start, and that makes sense because we're so large in that area. But you'll see there's a variety of other programs as well. So this lists out what the expenditure was for that. And then in the circle is one of the things that I'm always very proud of when I do this presentation is that for all of the funding that we've received, 96% goes right back into the programs, which means that only 4% is what we call our indirect rate, or what is our administrative rate. So 96 cents on the dollar that we receive directly goes back out into the communities, which is pretty impressive and very cool. The next 2 pages, what the left page talks about program impact. So all of the data that I've shared and the statistics and numbers you have in front of you is very impressive. We do a lot of things and we're a very large organization, but it's also important to remember that each of those numbers represent a person. So I always every year pull out some program impact stories about some things that we did to change people's lives in our area. So I'll let you read that as well. And then to the right is our breakdown of our CARES funding. So as you're aware, many entities received CARES funding when COVID-19 hit us, and NEMSCA was no different. We were allocated funds, and then it allowed us to actually provide additional programs to people in need that were negatively impacted by the pandemic. So you'll see the breakout of how that was expended out per county, and then what particular programs that we provided in the area as well. And then so finally, the last page is just a reminder about who we are, and that hopefully if you have any questions, you would know to get a hold of me or maybe talk to Commissioner Scott about some of our programs. And as you're interacting with your constituents and in your community members, if they have any questions about anything at all, our website's pretty intensive and extensive. So hopefully they can get the questions answered that way. So can I answer any questions about programs, the annual report, or our agency?
I like that breakdown specific for Ogemaw County. Thank you. Any questions, commissioners? Comments? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, we have Diane Peltz, Saddle Valley Community Mental Health Authority, CEO of Saddle Valley Annual Update.
Hello.
Hi.
Thank you. Good evening. I do have some numbers to pass out.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I am aware that you are on a time frame here, so I will do my best to
Thank you very much.
keep things more brief than I normally do. So, and thank you. Yes, my name is Diane Feltz. I'm the CEO of South Valley Community Mental Health, and I am here to do my brief annual report request for appropriations for next year. In your folder, on the left-hand side is the request, is also the breakdown of the appropriations by county, proposed budget, and on the, as well as our annual report. And then on the right side is actually my narrative statement that I will just touch upon briefly. After that are some statistics for the state of Michigan regarding, unfortunately, the suicide rate. And then behind that is actually a flyer for a concert that is being sponsored here on Saturday through the Coalition of Hope to support suicide prevention. So with that, I will just dive into my report briefly. You know, as I thought about this, you know, the last couple of years, it seems like everything has been so COVID related, and I really want that overshadowing my report today. And it's kind of funny because last time I was here, I believe I followed Frances last time from NEMSCA, and there were a few catchphrases she used last time that I know I used, and this time the same thing happened. She had talked about community action committees, and you know, that actually captures what I want to talk about a little bit here today. So there's two community initiatives that I would really like to hone in on today and make you aware of them. And the first one that I'm really enthused about and excited about has to do with a regional project related to Carter Kids. And I don't know, you may have read our press release in the newspaper, but and I actually have a kit here that I am going to give to the board that you can check out and keep, but I will talk a little bit more about that. And basically what this Carter Kits is a kit that deals with either has tools in there for children or adults that have some sensory perception issues or problems. This actually began as a grassroots movement. Mark, I don't know, maybe you know about this.
I do.
Yeah, from a detective sergeant in Saginaw Township PD. His son Carter, hence Carter Kits, has ASD or autism spectrum disorder. And excuse me, and part of how this began is he recognized when they would go out on calls, there's a lot going on when you go out on a call. I mean, there's sirens and there's lights and you know, what if fire or EMS is involved? You know, it's loud, and children that have autism or even adults that have a problem handling sensory perception, they don't react the same way that somebody that doesn't have that reacts. And you know, I think the thing that obviously the average person is not going to know is that, you know, when you're in a traumatic event or in a crisis, your brain reacts differently. And it's not that you can't do something or you won't do something, it's because you can't. You physically cannot. So while it may look like, you know, the other person is being obstructive, doesn't want to listen to directions, is being defiant, they really are not. They can't react any other way. So basically, Carter Kits began because of that. So Carter's dad, Justin Sievers, who I said is the detective sergeant in Saginaw, reached out to some of his friends and began a board, began these Carter Kits. They actually have expanded out to be a nonprofit now. They are in over 29 states in the United States. This is born out of clinical neuroscience, out of, you know, I guess what I want to say is this is very well thought of. There's a neuropsychologist on the board, the MDHHS EMS coordinator for the state of Michigan for Children's Programming, Sam Mistra, who's also a doctor. She's on the board. So anyway, they got together. what can we do to help people? These kits are a compilation of a weighted blanket to help with feeling secure, with sunglasses to help with the bright lights, with noise canceling headphones to help with all the sounds. There's a box of fidget tools in there just to kind of keep your mind off of things. There's a nonverbal cue card. So anyway, what I really like about this is that it is a mid-Michigan based nonprofit. And our region has actually entered into a regional initiative, a community action, to get these out to our communities, not only to EMS, not only to fire, to law enforcement, because certainly we want to help everybody have the tools that they need, but we're also taking these into our schools, public schools, private schools, libraries, municipalities, DHS, foster care. I mean, the use for this tool is limitless. So as a region, and when I speak about region, there's 5 community mental health centers, there's 21 CMHs, community mental health centers, 5 CMHs from Lake Huron to Lake Michigan up to the bridge. M55 is kind of the cutoff. We have actually purchased many of these kits, 2,000 to be exact. And the 5 CMH, yeah, not just for us, but for the 5 CMHs, for the 21 counties. Yeah, I know. But what we want to do is we want to get these out to people and agencies and the schools, the communities to help. That's what we're here for. We are here to help. We went through training. We actually have 6 trainers on staff that can distribute these out, talk about them. And you think training, what kind of training do I need to use a kit for? Well, it's not really to use the kit per se, but it's understanding and recognizing, the behaviors that this may be helpful for. So what I basically want you to know is that this is another tool that we as a community mental health center want to help our communities have. And whoever needs them will get them, whether you are, an individual foster care parent, if you are, again, the schools, the ISD, courts. I am working with the EMS coordinators right now to schedule regional trainings. As a matter of fact, we're working on one right now for Ogemaw County that will probably be the end of October. Hopefully a collaborative effort with not only EMS, but law enforcement and first responders, fire, volunteers. Yes, absolutely. And then we can also open it up to anybody within the community that wants to come. Everybody that attends will leave with a kit. So it is just an amazing tool, very helpful. And I think, the education that comes along with it is important. We all know that there's a national workforce shortage. We also know that through the pandemic, mental health needs have just been exacerbated beyond belief, especially with children, not only with adults, but especially with children. So we are here to help. If you can't come to us, we will come to you. So that's what's important for you to know. Nobody will be turned away. We want these kits out there. We want to help, and this is available to anybody. So any thoughts on that? Any places where you would like us to go to provide training? Any time of the day, the evening? Again, we've got a training center, but we will come to you. We will do whatever it is we need to do. And I think it's just a great way to partner up. The second point of focus I want to talk about is the Coalition of Hope, or HOPE stands for Helping Other People Every Day. This Coalition of Hope actually started here in Ogemaw County, a group of community members, and their mission is to provide support to all persons with the goal of preventing suicides. September is National Suicide Awareness Month, and actually this week right now is National Suicide Awareness Week. So this coalition, like I said, began in Ogemaw County. They're looking to expand in Iosco County, but they are made up of a group of community members. Actually, our Chief Clinical Officer, Teresa Tokarczyk, is the chair of this committee, but there's also people on this committee from the state police, from MDHHS, There's nurses on there, there's social workers, one that works for the VA. It's very well rounded, I guess, for lack of a better term. This coalition is fully grant funded. And so everything they do comes through grant funds. Their main focus, or their main way of getting other funds, is actually through this concert that is going to be this Saturday. And I happen to notice that you have a flyer up on the board up there, but you each have one in your packet. The thing that's really cool about this is that it is open to the public and there's no charge for anything, with one exception. There are t-shirts there for the Coalition of Hope if somebody wants to purchase those, and they're minimal at best, but everything else that's there is free. There's actually concerts, there's live bands that are there. There have been other agencies in the area that have donated things. I mean, last year there were big screen TVs, and there were bikes, and there were just all kinds of great things. Everybody who comes gets tickets to go in the drawing, and that's how you win. So there's, free music, there's food, there's giveaways. This year they have a free caricature artist to draw families. So, it's pretty amazing. Again, just another way to help the communities, to bring people together, to not have to worry about the cost, but just enjoy your time out, enjoy the community, enjoy your friends, your family, and have a good time, and not have to worry how you're going to pay for it. Those were the two main things I wanted to talk about. I do have an update in here on our grants. There's several grants that we have. And just for purposes of saving some time, I won't go through all of those. I know that you are perfectly capable of reading the updates on there. If I had to point one out, I guess the one I'd like to just talk about briefly is the Mental Health Awareness Training Grant. This grant was developed in response, again, to several mental health issues to help our communities. This is a training grant. The coordinator on this has been trained in numerous different trainings related to mental health issues, to suicide prevention, to awareness. And the goal of this particular grant is to train minimally 5,000 individuals in 5 years. By the end of 2026. You can see on page 4 of my report, the trainings that are available free of charge to the community. And these are fantastic. We talk about the need to understand mental health, and that's what a lot of these are, adult mental health first aid, youth mental health first aid. There's teen mental health first aid. There's, the mental health first aid related to first responders, law enforcement. There's what's called Safe Talk or Assist, and this is how to, again, recognize and help people that are in crises and how to help them through that. So there's just some grids there as to what counties have been trained, what classes have been offered, what's coming up. And I would just, strongly suggest you take a look at that and promote it. Please come and attend. If you'd like something here, we're more than happy to come here, so people don't have to go anywhere. Trauma-informed care, there's a lot about trauma-informed care. People have experienced a lot of trauma these last couple of years with the pandemic. My report ends with some service data from contracted providers, as well as with our own internal staff. And then it ends with future challenges, which are the same challenges we've had for the last few years: national workforce shortage and the quest to privatize the public mental health system. So I thank you for your support in the past for the resolution that the board had signed and the county supported against privatization of the public mental health system. That does not serve anybody well at all. The private mental health system, the public mental health system needs to stay public, because it's all about local control. It's about knowing your people. We know the people, we know our communities, just like you know your communities and where the needs are. And commercial insurances and the private sector does not know that at all. The last page, there's a link there to a teaching video that is a very good advocacy video that if you have a chance, I would just like to suggest maybe you click on it and take a look. So, you know, we know the need for mental health services just keeps rising. On average, every month, we see more than, we see 100 more people every month than we have in the past. And it just keeps continuing to grow. And it's really sad, really sad. So I will close in saying, you know, thank you for your support. We appreciate it very much. Please know again that we are here for you. We are very community focused. The thing that I have to say I love most about the grants is that our hands are not tied by who we can serve, like how our regulations are with our funding. So we can help everybody who may not be in our priority population, right, that we serve normally. And even one of the COVID-19 grants, the thing that was wonderful about that is, you know, we helped a lot of first responders, we helped a lot of nurses, we helped a lot of staff that came from the hospital that were just seeing such traumatic things. You know, and just because that may have been a profession that somebody sought out on their own does not mean that they're not affected by what they see. So again, thank you for your support. I appreciate it greatly. Again, just know we are here. Please reach out to us, reach out to me, and we will do whatever we can to support whatever needs you have in our communities. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. And let me give this to you. Who would like this or where shall I put it?
Drop it right here.
Diane,
Yeah.
I will tell you this.
Yeah.
I know somebody that's very close to me, those noise canceling headphones can be a huge benefit. And I'd also like to congratulate you on the fact that you are at least making headway with your staffing levels. I see you've done
A little
20, well, you filled
I know.
7, you got 7 more than you had last year.
Oh,
So-
There's a way to get my dinner, so.
I'm glad to see you're chipping away at it.
thank you.
So,
We're trying.
Good job.
We're trying. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too. We have item H claims. Claims for $119,156.01. Who reviewed claims?
Mark and myself.
Go ahead, Commissioner Vaughn.
Animal control was $12,025.70. This for the new box for the animal control. Vehicle housing, $27,656. That was some building projects. The jail, $14,000 of that. $24,940 was pharmacy. $11,000 of that was Oscodas. So that ate up quite a bit of that. That was actually all the big ones. This Mark's got his home.
Commissioner Serbrook.
Elections because of the ballot. And no, otherwise, yeah, I exactly the things jumped out at me that I'd written down too.
Questions, commissioners? Commissioner Scott?
I sat in and saw some of it. While Mark was doing it. And then newly Commissioner-elect Wiltsey sat with
Commissioner Vaughn.
Commissioner Vaughn. So he got to see a snapshot of what we look at. Thought that was good.
Is that it?
Motion to pay the bills.
Commissioner Wicker, nothing?
Support the motion.
We have a motion, Commissioner Vaughn with support from Commissioner Serbrook to pay claims. Any further discussion? Roll call vote?
Brad Newbecker,
Yes.
Jenny David,
Yes.
Craig Scott,
Yes,
Mark Serbrook,
Yes.
Ron Vaughn.
Any unfinished business, commissioners? Item 10, administrators report.
Start by reminding you, I sent out or sent forward an email about the opioid settlement. We'll talk more about this at the COW meeting. The initial payment that we're going to receive is a partial payment of one of the settlements. So a number of my colleagues have been pretty upset about the amount, but then realizing that this is just like a first installment beginning probably next month. We'll see the full amounts coming through. There is a PDF floating around somewhere that I will search and find that is the list we've been waiting for, and that's the eligible expenses. So town meeting, we'll get into that and be able to move forward. I meant to start by apologizing. I sent you an email this afternoon. I saw our public hearing notice for the budget in the paper this week and was horrified that I had put the wrong date. The date that's on there is our regular meeting date. So that will be our public hearing, and I apologize for that. Everything else was right. There's a font size that we have to have with that. There's bolding that we have to have by state statute. Boy, I made sure we got it right. Just missed that number. So it doesn't set us back at all, but it is an inconvenience. And again, I apologize. I know we wanted to get that done next week. We did have a health coalition meeting yesterday. Very good news all the way around on how our health insurance is doing. The group that was in attendance, we received the options that we have for that third plan that I mentioned. There are, count them, 154 alternatives to choose from. So glad we have the group. They're diving into it full force, and by your next meeting, possibly even, well, no, I don't want to go that far, but certainly by our next full meeting, we'll have a recommendation from the group about which of those plans, and they're all good. So it's just a matter of what is going to work better for our employees. Last week, I started a process on the harassment training, that harassment policy that we approved a few meetings ago. We did want every employee to sign off on that. So this is our way of doing it. I met the department heads first to go over it. So we had a dry run of what the presentation was, set up format through our seamless docs application, where in our department heads for the test group signing off that they had attended. It worked wonderfully. So that's going to be in process. And by the end of the month, we will have processed all of our employees, and we'll have our first baseline for everybody attending that session. And a number of House bills and things I was going to talk about. I'll wait till the committee, the whole meeting, but there is one I wanted to let you in on. Senate Bill 1160 actually dropped today. This is a bill that settles a disagreement we've had with the state for a long time on revenue sharing and the revenue sharing formulas. The way this was initially set up long time ago, a certain percentage of the state sales tax was supposed to be dedicated specifically to revenue sharing and dispersed among all municipalities. State has not kept up with that obligation. In fact, there was a lawsuit a couple of years ago, of which Michigan Association of Counties was a part of, to force the state to fund that same percentage that they had agreed to, and they did not win the case. But we now have a legislator who stepped forward with a bill that would dedicate 16.6% of the general sales tax to what would be called a revenue sharing trust fund. So this is the only thing that it could be used for. That's the funding level that we should have been at by now anyway. Of that 16.6%, the bill would dedicate half of that to counties, which is great news. According to MAC, that percentage would mean, our percentage right now based on the current formula would mean a 43% increase in revenue sharing for Ogemaw County, about $230,000 shot in the arm, which would be wonderful. That's how far behind we are, though, in terms of what the state originally promised that would come with revenue sharing. So that's one to watch. It does not appear that the legislature is all that interested in having many more sessions this year. So there are 2 or 3 dates that they have right now. So watch for that. I'm sure there'll be all sorts of emails coming from MAC to keep us up to date on it. But MAC was pretty confident that that was going to go. So that was good news. And then finally, one of the resolutions that was approved was to allow us to put some surplus property up for auction. We did use this opportunity to reserve one of those building inspection trucks we want to swap that out with the building and grounds truck that's pretty much rusted through and has about $1,800 to $2,000 worth of repairs that need to be done on it. Well, this building inspection truck, we had to plug a hole in a tire and run over a nail, and we had to have a couple of the tire sensors switched out for about $100. It needs routine maintenance. It needs to have an oil change. Has an airbag light on. I think it said very minor stuff. Bigger truck. So we're going to swap those two, and we're also looking into that lift gate or something compatible for the back of it to help prevent injuries from our people. So that swap has been made. We've got the other truck in, getting it serviced, and be a better vehicle, I think, for our building and grounds. End of my report.
Thank you. Elected officials and department head reports. Clerk.
Breck Gildner, Ogemaw County Clerk. This week, Tuesday, we had completed our recount for the District 4 Commissioner race. It was as is, so Brenda Simmons will be the new District 4 Commissioner. I am expecting to get my ballot proofs tomorrow for the November election. And then we in the office have been getting a lot of calls about when the absentee ballots will get sent out. They have to be to the clerks by September 24th and then delivered to the people after the 29th. So if anybody asks at your meetings, September 24th through the 29th, the community can expect their absentee ballots. That is it.
Was there any other recounts?
No,
Somebody asked me last night.
no,
Okay.
no, just that.
That's it?
Yep.
Treasurer? Anything to report?
No.
Anybody on the phone? Denise? Any other elected officials or department head reports on the phone? 12 matters from the floor. I don't believe there are any. Motions for adoptions. Committee reports. Mr. Vaughn.
Two townships, business as usual, Cummings Township and Hill Township. The biggest thing on the agenda is, I would say, is again, blight. My suggestion to them again was, maybe the MTA get together with all the townships and get all the townships together and write one blight ordinance up and then maybe kick all their money in and hire 2 blight officers for the whole damn county and try and take care of it that way. I don't know what else to tell them.
Has there been any updates on the MTA meetings? I've not heard anything on the county. Anybody heard anything at your guys' meetings?
I have talked to Carol Gilman. Carol was kind of the one that ramrodded the MTA when it was going before COVID. And she's told me that she was gonna try and get something, because I know Mike Bowers would like to address that whole group, and then there's the blight issue and stuff. So I have talked to Carol on a couple of occasions, and she said she was gonna see if she couldn't get the ball rolling again to at least get them to meet quarterly or something. So
Absolutely.
that's what I know.
Commissioner Becker,
Nothing this month.
Commissioner Serbrook.
I attended West Branch City Council meeting on Tuesday. Just for a point to everybody, there's gonna be, the Ogemaw Historical Society had one of Millie Miller's totem poles donated to them. And this thing was laying on the ground, water soaked, saturated. They had it restored. There was a group that did the restoration. They've done previous restorations. They are going to have a dedication / unveiling of that totem pole at the Historical Society on the 24th at high noon. They said when the noon whistle blows, the cover will come off the totem pole and it will be dedicated. So I think everybody here on the council or on the commission knows, but Chief Ogemaw sits in that lobby, Millie Miller, the one that chiseled that. And she's done lots of things. I attended the same church that Millie did, and she did carvings for the church, and she was just a fantastic Millie the Chiseler. So I think it's neat that they actually were able to restore one of her totem poles, so.
She was on Gerald H. Miller Road where that was.
Yes,
her-
yep. So I'm looking forward to seeing that totem pole. I attended Commission on Aging yesterday. We amended our budget. We actually were able to reduce the expenditure in the budget in the fiscal year 22 budget. We only got 1 week and a half left, 2 weeks, by $34,000. So even with food costs going up, but they saved some personnel costs and things. So other than that, that's it.
Commissioner Scott?
Attended a road commission meeting. They went over their construction projects as it is right now and their equipment. Purchases and their status and stuff. They are starting into the first motions of union negotiations this year. So they had a closed session meeting about that. I did attend the City of West Branch meeting, introduced myself to everybody that knew me already, but let them know that, you know, I'll be taking over in first of the year, and they did have some questions for Mark and I about 911. They want to know because of the reorganization or redistricting. You know,
that was gonna
put a couple of members in the same district, and you guys were talking about changing who was.
They put memos out or sent them to the townships to try and get people
Yeah.
replaced.
But like West Branch Township, there was talk. I know I talked with Tom Krebs about they were just gonna title people different.
Yeah, well, a couple of them, they were gonna title different, but there was still, I think.
You
at least-
still had mills though, right?
Yeah, there was still one. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was open.
So they just had a question about that. It was a good, it was a short meeting. It went into a closed session. And we, of course, had to leave over something with their attorney. So, yeah, I told them that, you know, I'll try to attend all their meetings. They have them twice a month rather than just once a month like most townships. But I tell them that I give my townships written reports about what I say. The clerks like it because they don't have to write all notes down about what I say. They just file my report. So I told them if they didn't mind, I'd give them a report too, which they didn't mind. So next week is all my township meetings. They start next week. So I'll have something else. I just had a question for the administrator after his report. Have you had a department head meeting yet this month?
We just sort of had what you call it, but a filler meeting, one in between meetings last week where we talked about the harassment policy and budget transfer policy within their own budgets, things that they can do. And there were a couple of other things.
Good attendance?
Yeah, I ran out of handouts. So, yeah.
Okay, all right. And we're not calling this harassment training. We're calling it policy training, right?
There's
It just doesn't sound like, hey, we're training you on harassment.
it's cleverly worded on all the announcements. So it's understood what we're talking about.
Okay, that's all I got.
I attended Richland Township. That wasn't nothing really specific. The roads a little bit. The campground's doing very well. They did a little bit of work to the cemetery, looking at some bids for grass mowing for next year. Mills had a special meeting to discuss some of the ARPA funds they're looking at. They had open discussion about a new township facility building, which is very, very much needed. So their meeting is actually next week, but I did stop in there. I was there about 20 minutes just to listen to the discussion about the building itself and what their thoughts were as far as going forward with it or not. I also attended Logan last night. The sheriff was there. I left at 8:30 after about an hour and a half. And it wasn't over with yet. I guess I was gonna ask him tonight how it ended. Still a lot of debate going on there. the Styles Lake Association, weed control, that board seems to really struggle. What else can I say about that? I think that's really about it. I was gonna ask the sheriff for his input, and I will touch base on him with that. So there is an election on that board. November, there's gonna be a trustee that's on there too. There is also there's another party, correct?
There is, and hold on, there's a non-party.
It was kind of odd last night. They had I think they have some legal questions now, and it was kind of odd to me that the supervisor had a letter from a lawyer and a letter from their lawyer and wouldn't address it. I don't even know what the topic was about. I thought that was kind of odd. I'm not exactly sure, but I'm sure there'll be more information to come on that. She said, I'm not going to discuss that, even though it was on the agenda and I don't know. There's gonna be more to come, I'm sure. So I will keep you informed.
I have two candidates. One is a Republican, one is a no party affiliation.
Good news is they are getting along with the road commission. So there's some works being done there, so there'll be more to come on that, I'm sure. So I will keep you informed. That's it for me. Anything else? Did we miss anything? Huh? Any general public comments? Same rules apply, but this is any topic matter.
I want to make comment at how quiet it got in here and for people that can't hear, it's nice, that noise off. So it was okay to have that thing turned off while you're having your meeting.
Yeah, what was that?
That's the ventilation system. And yeah, the air conditioner just kicked out. That's all.
Have it turned on for an hour while you're
We
having.
didn't turn it off, but it just did on its own.
I could at least hear that.
Thanks for letting us know.
Do I need to put that in the minutes?
But her, have it off for an hour.
Oh, we appreciate your attendance. So, any other public comment? Sir?
I see mom got off the phone in time.
She must have. Any public comment on the phone? She attended that meeting with me. She used to be the supervisor for a little
Oh, I
bit.
know she was. Best one they've had.
Should have told her that, because I'm trying to talk her into it again.
Well, she got off too soon.
I'm really trying to talk her into that again.
I'll write her name in.
Uh,
I ballot.
Motion to adjourn.
motion for Commissioner Serbrook,
Or,
support from Mr. Bond,
Aye.
all in favor,
Bye.
opposed? Meeting adjourned at 6:32.
And all in favor, say bye.
Bye.